Hi, in this video we're going to show you how to, if you got foggy headlights or hazed up headlights, we're going to show you how to buff the yellow out of the clear so your headlights will look brand new again. This is our headlight. This is what it looks like now. We're going to show you a few before and after photos, so we're going to take a picture of it now, see how hazy it is and how bad it looks now, and then we'll see what our finished product will look like. Alright, these are the things you'll be needing to do this. You need your polishing compound, your rubbing compound. This one here is your polishing compound. You'll be using this as a finish with the gray pad, your polishing pad. You need your rubbing compound, which is this one here. You'll be using it with this pad here. You're going to need a sanding block like this, and I'll explain why you should use a sanding block. And then you need yourself a sheet of 2000 grit sandpaper, and you need obviously your buffer. And also one other thing you need is some water. We're using a special type of spray gun, just sprays water out. You can use anything. You can use a water bottle. I mean, really anything. You just need some water when you're doing the sanding, because you need to be doing wet sanding and not dry. If you sand without water, we're going to put lots of deep scratches in the headlight, so we don't want to do that. We want to use water. So anything will work. We just have one of these. Any type of spray gun will work for you. So these are the materials you'll need. All right, in your first step, what you want to do is you want to get your sanding block. You want to get your sandpaper and wrap it around there evenly. Now, when you're doing this, you don't want to leave the line or the edge of that sandpaper on the part where you're going to be sanding. You want it to be flat, so you don't want the sandpaper to fold on you or anything like that. So you want to put it on that sanding block like this. And the reason why you need a sanding block is when you're sanding, let's say if you try doing it by hand, your hand is here and it has a lot of different pressure points. And so what ends up happening is you could be sanding high and low. You'll have high and low spots in your sanding because your hand is not flat like the block. So this is the main reason why you need a sanding block, because we want to get everything as flat as possible on that headlight. So we rewrap this like this, and we'll get ready for the next step. Alright, the next step in this process, you want to grab your sanding block with the sandpaper and your water. What you want to do is just go ahead and hose the headlight down. You want to always apply water when you're doing this. You don't want to sand dry. And so what you want to do is just evenly run your sandpaper back and forth on the headlight. Now this always varies depending on how bad, like the top, usually the top half of your headlight will be really yellow and the center half or the bottom piece will not. But if your headlight's all the way yellow through, you might have to use like a 15,000 sandpaper grit, something a little thicker, so you sand through it faster. But this one was not too bad, so I chose the 2000. You want to continually, always apply water on it while you're doing this. And you want to get all that yellow out. And as you're sanding, you'll be able to see when the water runs down, you'll see that the water will actually turn to yellow, and what you're sanding out of it is that yellow color that gets into the headlight film. So you want to just run your sandpaper back and forth a few times. Try to do everything as evenly as possible. Sometimes I'll even run the sandpaper in circular motions like that, depending on what style the headlight is or what the shape is. Sometimes it's impossible to do it this way. You see all the yellow that's coming out of the film or the lens comes out into the water, and that's your main goal, is trying to get all that yellow out of there. That's what usually happens. It gets yellow. It's also good for small scratches. If you have small scratches in the lens, you can kind of sand them out. I mean, it's never good to sand all the way through because you can sand the film completely off, and you'll buff it out and polish it, and it'll look nice, but the length of how nice it'll stay won't be too long because there's no more protective film on there. So we don't want to sand all the way through it. That's why we try to use a fine 2000 grit. We don't do it too much, we just until we get a desired look. Alright, we're pretty much done with the sanding portion of it. Just hose it down real nice. Okay, once you got it all sanded down, what you want to do is just dry off the water that you've been spraying on it. Let me show you what it needs to look like after you sanded it down, or what you want it to look like. It's gonna look real hazy, but you want it to look flat. You want the lens to all look flat and even, and so it takes on one color. It's gonna be like a foggy. You want the headlight to be real foggy, but all the way across. See, some of these portions right here, I don't know if you can see in the video or not, they're a little not the same color as I would like it to be, because I didn't sand it enough here. So I should probably run my sandpaper a few times over the spots that are different than the rest of the headlight. Right here in this corner I didn't get too well, and so I might run my sandpaper over it again, because I want it to all look about this center color. It's like a real foggy color. I mean, it's a foggy lens, and you want the whole thing to be that even. And so when we apply the polish, it polishes all out even, and then the rubbing compound, it rubs out all even, and then when we polish it, it'll look real nice. So I'm gonna run my sandpaper over these few spots one more time. All right, I just got done sanding a few more, the high and low spots that I missed. So I'm done with that. Your next step is to grab your rubbing compound pad. You can get these things pretty much anywhere. We got these from the local paint store, so that might be where you need to go to get these things, the machine and all the compounds as well. But what you want to do first is just apply a little bit of water on this pad. You don't want it to be dry. You don't want to apply too much water as well, because then when you put the compound on there, it's just going to get everywhere because it's real wet, and so it just flings everywhere. So I just like to apply a little bit of water, because when you're doing it, you don't want to actually burn the rubbing compound into the plastic. You just want it to rub over it. So that's why I use a little bit of water. And sometimes when you're doing it, you'll see, and it might not, you'll see like the compound might burn into the plastic as well. So you just apply a little bit more water and you can buff that back out. So we're gonna go from there, put it on the machine, put some of the compound on there. You don't need to apply too much, just that would work. That might even be too much, but it's all right. And then we'll put the machine to it and we'll go over it. All right, this next step, you need to grab your pad and put it on the buffer. Put it on like this. And since the headlight is off the car, I'm gonna need someone to help me hold it. So my buddy here is gonna hold it for me. And just hold it, Caleb, like that. All right, we'll go ahead and buff this thing out, see what it does. Now if you got one of these, you want to put it on the slowest speed. You don't want this thing spinning too fast. So, because what's going to happen is the lens is going to get really hot, and if you get it too hot, you'll burn through the plastic. So you don't want to do it too fast. So put it on the slowest speed. pretty much it. What you want to do is just evenly go over all the headlight, make sure the compound is on all the portions of the headlight, and just go ahead and just rub it all in there. And then we'll clean all the excess, whatever's left off it, and we'll go ahead and put the polishing pad down on it, and we'll see how it turns out. All right, next thing we need to do in this process is grab your polishing pad, put it on your machine, grab some of that polishing compound that you got, apply some of that onto the headlight, and go ahead and just buff that one into it. Grab just a rag, whatever you got, and wipe off whatever excess there is. And if you got a bunch of the, whatever runoff or whatever excess stuff, just clean that off. You don't want that stuff to stay on your headlight. Pretty much you got yourself a finished product. That's what the headlight looks like. Every headlight varies depending on how the condition of the lens is. So if yours are really far gone, you might not even be able to get it to look as decent or whatever, so you might have to just buy new lenses. But most headlights come out pretty decent. This one's pretty okay. That's pretty much what you need to do.